In this video, we're going to have a look at some great tools to use with advanced custom fields to make it a lot easier and quicker to develop websites, to get the code, and then to insert the code into your template. And we'll be using Oxygen Builder for the template. So I've installed Oxygen and the default page structure and theme, and then I've also installed Advanced Custom Fields Pro. So let's first create a field group with custom fields. And in that field group, we're just going to create as many different kinds of fields as possible. So we'll get rid of the Oxygen interface. Right, and then we'll just publish to get started. Right, with that in place, now we can have a look at adding some fields. So let's do a text field. We'll do some radio buttons. Right. Let's add a repeater. And inside that repeater, let's add a repeated text field. And let's add an image field. And lastly, let's add a repeater select field. And in that, we have the select, and in the choices, we'll go select one. So there we have a basic repeater setup. Let's add another field. This time, let's go and add a date picker. And we'll just leave that at the default, and the return format we'll set it the same. Right. And then lastly, what we'll do is we'll add one more field. And let's add a group. So this is really just for demonstration purposes. So we have some group text, and let's add a group image. Right, so we have a basic group set up, and then let's just add something that looks for a URL or a file. So for that, we'll go to, let's have a look at a link, or let's look at a post object. So we'll say all post types and all taxonomies apply. And right, so there we have our basic setup. So what often happens is that you have your custom fields, and now you want to insert your custom fields into your PHP code block, but you don't have the code in order to do that, and to get it you need to spend some time in ACF looking it up. But there is an easier way. So what we do is we head over to Google Chrome, and in Google Chrome we're going to do a search for Chrome extensions advanced custom fields. We go to ACF Tools Google Chrome, and you're looking for this icon, and you want to install this extension, and once it's installed you'll see that you'll get a little A here for your advanced custom field tools. And the way that this works is once you've installed the extension and you head over into your field group and you want to get the code from any of these fields, what you can do is you can simply click on that ACF icon. You'll be asked to reload the page, so the page will reload, and now when you hover over each of these items you'll see that you have an option to copy the code. So let's just look at the text field. So we copy the code, and then we can check that in a text editor. So here I just have the basic text editor, and if I paste that now, you'll see that we have the if statement. If the field exists, then get the value from that field. And if we have a look at all the fields available here, so we can look at the radio button. So here we can look at the radio button, and once again, if the value is equal to the first option, then we have if it's true or false. So if it is equal to a 1 or a 0, then do something with that information. Let's have a look at the repeater. So we can copy the code and copy the code with the subfield. So we'll just copy the code first, and if you have rows, the row, right? So none of the fields included in the repeater are in that row. If we copy with the subfields, you'll now see that it includes the subfields that we had in that field group. So there's the image, there's the text, there's the repeater image, and then the select value. So as you can see, you don't have to worry about any of the code that's going to be needed to set out the value. Same thing happens when we go and look at the date field. Let's have a look at that. There we have the simple echoing of the date field. We can look at the group field. Once again, copy the code for the group. Once again, just a basic without the subfields, and then we can select the other option, and now we get the values included inside that group field. And then if we look at a post object, which would reference to categories, then once again here we have the post data, and in this case the permalink and the title. So very nicely laid out, and you can literally just copy and paste this code into your PHP code block inside your template. So that's how easy it is to get the code from the various themes, the code from the various blocks, and then or field items, and then to insert them into your post. Right, let's now go and have a look at a plugin that you can install that will also make your life with advanced custom fields a lot easier. Let's go back to plugins, and now what we're going to do is we're going to look for a new plugin, and this plugin is the ACF extended plugin. So We'll do a search for ACF extended. The extended plugin looks like this one. So let's install that. Right, we'll activate that plugin. Right, so we have the extended plugin installed, and now when we hover over advanced custom fields, you'll see that we have a substantial addition of additional tabs to our system. So we have the field groups, add new. Now we can categorize our field groups. We've got block types, forms, option pages, some settings, and then tools and updates. So let's go and have a look at some of those. So now what's nice is when it comes to creating front-end forms, it's a much easier process. Simply click on forms, add new. There we have new form. I can then give that a name, new form, and I can select the field group, in this case just the demo group. So now those fields are automatically pulled into the form, and of course I can select more than one field group if I want to include more than one field group in my form. And then under action is where the real power lies. So here we can do a custom action, or we can do an email, a post, a term, or a user action. So in this case, we said we're going to create a new form. So when the form is created, it's basically, is this going to be to update a post? Is this to create an email, update some terms? Is it maybe to register a user? So what is this form going to be used for? In this case, we can do perhaps a post action. And now you can see you have the option then to create a post or update a post. Let's have a look at an email action. And here the email action would be to send an email. So we could combine the two and say that when this form is created, we'll create a post and we're going to send an email. We could look at a custom action. So this would be an action that I would like to have run. And I would here be able to insert the code that I would like to use. And as you can see, there are several options that are presented in the plugin to make my life easier in constructing that custom action. Let's have a look at the next one. We can also do a term action. So once again here, target this action using these hooks. And once again, I can create a term or I can update a term. And here is code that is available to me to set that up if I want to extend this further. And here are the action hooks that I can use to fire my own custom options and the kind of code that I'm going to need to be able to do that. As you can see, it's broken down really nicely. As you can see there, we've got change the value source, change the term arguments, and also add a custom action on term save. So anything that you need then to change a term, and then of course we have a user action. So what's nice here is that I can create a user, update a user, or log the user. Also with a code section, if I want to extend that further. And how all of these generally work is that you generally have the for example, with a post is you have a load option and then you have the save option. So what this is saying is when you're working with a form, what fields should load when when that form loads. So generally, if you're updating a post, you would want certain fields to load with a value. And when you save, you would want to save certain values. When you're creating a new post, you don't want to load any action or any fields here because they're all blank. And then of course you have the option then to save, and you can then select. So if I wanted to assign a custom field from my field group, I could, for example, come in here and scroll down to my custom fields and then be able to insert the values from my custom field. So you'll see that there are no custom fields available at the moment, and that's because we haven't published our form. Let's just update these. They do require at least the name of the action be filled in to work. So that should do it. Right, let's publish. Right, so now what you'll see is that when I go to load, okay, we're on create post. Right, so now if I head over to the save option here and I want to assign a custom field, you'll see that my custom fields are now included, and I can quite easily head down to, there's my demo group, and I can choose which field then to assign as the title for this post. So that can automatically be done. The user would fill in the form to whatever that submission is, either to create post or to insert some information that you'll be using, and you can then determine which of those fields is used as the post title. You can also assign the content, the post order, the parent, the post terms. So quite easy to do that. And the same would apply then for example, the email works a little bit differently, but yeah, you could then have the user insert an email address, and that would be used then for the to reply to CC, BCC, or subject. So these can be code fields or they can be hard coded. So just to manually insert the code field for that particular email, and then a custom action. We have the code, but you need to insert your own custom field code in that case. In terms of a term action, once again, you can select from these fields, and also then we have a user action. But also to remember that only the selected fields will be saved with the user. So even though I've pulled in that whole field group, with any of these actions, I can select which of these fields are saved. So if they're not needed, you don't need to select them. And what's nice about that, for example, is if you're doing the post and let's say you're going to update a post and you want to load certain fields, is you only need to load the fields that you want to load on that form. You don't have to load all the custom fields. So you have control over which fields are loaded into that form. And of course, then once you're done and you want to include on your page, you can either use these shortcodes or you can make use of the PHP code here. And this is just one of the items and options available. If we look at the options pages, so maybe we'll just update that. Options pages now are really easy to do. So you want to create an options page on your website using advanced custom fields. You can come in, create your so now you can create your post options. So we'll call it, and these could be anything that you really want. And then you even have an option to put in your menu title. So I'll do an options test. And the capability, the position, the parent slug, you can even insert an icon URL, redirect the post ID. We're going to just go with test options, So you have what the button should be on the update, whether it should auto load. So you can set up these options as you want. Once you're done, you would hit the publish button and you have your options test available. Now we haven't assigned a custom field group yet to that particular item. So if we head back to options pages, here we have the options. Then you'll see there's no place here to apply the field group. It works in the default way where you head over to your field group, you go into your demo group, and what you do is you scroll down post type, and here you can say options page is equal to options test, update the value, head over to options test, and now you can see that we have the values from our demo field group included. So that's how easy it is to set up the options page. So let's head back to the custom fields, and you'll see that we have this menu across the top here which has the options, so nice, quick and easy to get to. If we wanted to assign a category, here we could add a new category. Test, we can assign a parent category and then just add a new category. For block types, so these are block types that you could use inside your website. So if you really wanted to use this for block type, block test. So you can insert the name, you can insert a description. Here you can assign a category. This would be related back to the WordPress categories, and here is a short list here of what those are, where you can insert your particular block, some keywords, what kind of post it applies to, a post or a page, the mode, and the align. And then you can also insert an icon just to make it stand out a little bit more. You also have a render template, the template file used to render the block. In Oxygen, this though wouldn't really apply, because in Oxygen you would be able to create your own block types. When to enqueue the script, and then the support options. So not really relevant in an Oxygen builder. We've looked at the forms and we've seen just how powerful those can be. Then we head over to the settings. So these are the settings for ACF, and then we have the ACF extended settings if you want to just get an overview of what those are. Then we also have some tools. So you'll see that you have a lot more tools now, and you're able to, you've seen the import field groups and export field groups, which are standard, but now you also have for block type, post type, taxonomies, options pages, and the forms. So whatever you do in one install, you can then export into another as long as you have the ACF extended. So those are just additional nice to have features. What you can also do from the field group is when you hover over the field group now, you can see that you're also able to access PHP and JSON straight from the field group. What's also nice about the interface is you'll see that here we have an indication of the location. So this at the moment is set for options. If I go into the demo group and I change that to, let's say, just a standard post type, all post types, update, and I head back to the field group, now you'll see that I have a different icon indicating what the purpose of this field group is. And maybe I'm going to do something around a user role. And once again, if I head back, it'll show all users. So let's have a look and see how we would use this inside an Oxygen template. So what we'll do is we'll head back to our custom fields. We'll go over to that field group and we're just going to assign it then to any post type, to all post types, and update. And then what we'll do is we'll head over to Oxygen and we'll go to our blog post and we'll edit with Oxygen. So here we are on our post and we're just using the standard atomic theme from WooCommerce, from Oxygen. So if we head over into the structure, we have the heading, then we have the article, and then here we have a code block, and there's nothing in that code block. And then we have the comment section. So let's go to that code block, which is there by default, and we can now insert the code from our custom field. So let's head over to the admin section of the website, and then we'll go to custom fields, and we'll head over to our field group. And now you'll see I want to get the code, but I don't see the little code block. Head over here to the icon, reload the page, and now you'll see that I can simply copy the code and insert that code on the page. And I can save that. So now if I go over to my Hello World post, so we'll open up our posts, we'll go to Hello World. Let's get back to the normal view here, close Oxygen, and I enter some texture. I'm going to update that, and then let's go and view the post. And let's head back to Oxygen. And I'm going to just wrap that with a div. Going to give it a background color. And we'll just give that a text color of black. And then we'll make the width of that 100%, and under the size and spacing we'll just give that a 15 pixel all round. Then we'll save that. Now when we head over to our website, we should easily see that block. You'll see that the value isn't displaying in the block, but if we do go and inspect the block and we look at the code inside the block, you'll actually see that the text is there. So to do that, head back to Oxygen, and you'll see here that under the settings that the default setting was set to display none. We simply allow that to display, and of course the text will show. And then on the website, the text comes through. So that was just due to a default setting inside the Oxygen template that set the layout to display none. So that's how easy it is. We can literally go into our field group and head over to the particular field to, there we go. Now we can copy the code. So let's have a look at a repeater. So we're going to copy that code as it is, head over to Oxygen. We'll stick with the same code block, and inside that code block now, we'll just paste that immediately below what is already in that block. And then we're going to head over to the post. We'll edit the post, and we'll go to that repeater test, and we're going to add a row, and we'll say 1. We don't have any select fields. Well, we have select 1, select 2, select 3, so let's add 2. We'll go to the select 1 and then add another row, call that 3, and we'll make that select 3. So 2, 1, 3, we'll update, head back to the website, and there you can see the selection 1, 2, 3, not formatted in the way that we would like, but there nonetheless. If we'd like to show the other values, because you'll remember that we did change the selection for each of those, and that select value isn't showing, what we do is we'll head back to Oxygen, we'll go and have a look at the code, and you'll see here that when it comes to displaying the repeater select field, it has a preset if condition. If now what we'll do is we'll remove those details there, which means that we now default to just is there a value in that subfield, and we're going to insert the following code. And what we're doing is we're saying select equals, and now the select variable will be equal to, and we'll get the value from that field, and then we're going to echo out that value. So if I apply that code, you'll see that the selection comes through. So if we save, head over to the website and refresh the page, you'll see that those items now display. To display the images would take a little bit of an adjustment. At the moment, if we head over to edit the post, we would simply go back to our repeater and we can add 3 images. We have this demo image that we'll be using. So there we have the image selected, update, and we'll view the post, and you'll see that the image does display, but it's not the size that we want. So in order to do that, we need to just make a change to our custom field group in order to get the right code to display the image and to be able to adjust the size. So to do that, we will head back to our custom field, and we go back to our group, and we go back to the repeater field. And what we're going to do is head down to the image, and we're going to change the return format from the image array to the image ID. And we're going to update that, but that will also change the code that we use in our template. So as you can see, I need to get the code, head over to my icon in the top right hand corner, reload the page, head back to my repeater, copy the code with the subfield, and then I'll head back to my template, and I'm just going to paste in that code below, and you'll see now that the repeater image code changes and now actually includes a variable called size. And inside that variable there, I can actually set the image size. So what I'm going to do is take out copy the code for the image, and I'm going to replace the code here for the image. And then I'm going to delete this code. Right. So now what I've done, and I'll just apply that, and I'm going to save. And now I'm going to change the size there to medium. I'll apply the code, and now you'll see that the images all appear in a medium size. We can save that. We can head back to our post, view that, and now you'll see that the post that the image size in the repeater is much smaller.